top syndicated columnist, Joe Hyams.
Hi, folks. This costume I'm wearing is known as a gi. It's worn by participants and students of karate, one of the most devastating forms of self-defense ever developed. Karate literally means empty hand and refers to the fact that no weapons are used. Instead, hands, elbows, fingers, feet, knees, and other parts of the body are developed and used as weapons. For example, the hand is a hand sword, the foot is a foot sword. A person proficient in karate can chop wood just like that. Now, a lot of the Hollywood people study karate, surprisingly. Elvis Presley, for example, is a black belt, which is a high honor. Frank Sinatra studies it, Darren McGavin has studied it, McDonald Carey, and Rick Jason. We're going to show you the power, speed, deadliness, and beauty of karate with one of the more famous students, star of screen, television, and karate, Mr. Nick Adams.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
I think the folks out there would probably like to meet Ed Parker here, our instructor, who is considered to be the foremost authority on karate in the continental United States. Ed?
Thank you. I think Nick is a little prejudiced, Joe.
Well, Ed, both Nick and I know a bit about how karate started, but I'm not sure that it's familiar to everyone. Could you tell us about it?
Yes, I'd be glad to. The actual history is lost in the antiquity of time, although the Chinese are given credit for it. They fashioned a lot of the weapons after observing the fowls and the reptiles and beasts of the land. So they fashioned the tiger claw, the eagle's beak. Then the Okinawans picked the art up, and during the era back in about 1704, their weapons were confiscated, so they developed the art which we now have and call karate.
And karate made the long trip across the Pacific to Van Nuys, where it's in Nick Adams' converted garage, and now this is a gym, isn't it?
Yeah, Joe, this was a three-car garage, and I converted it to a gym because I like to work out. I work out with the bag, the heavy bag and light bag, and with some weights, and Ed comes over, and we go through some movements, and I did it because, for one thing, I like to stay in shape because most of the pictures I do and television shows I do are, you know, physical type shows, and it keeps me in good condition both mentally and physically. And especially karate, I found out that many times I was out on the road on personal appearances, and a few guys would come up and they say, hey, I see you in motion pictures and television, you're not so tough. And it's a good feeling to know that you can handle yourself if you ever have to. And
have you ever had to use karate?
Just once, yeah.
Was it useful then?
Yeah, I busted some guy's kneecap. But but actually he had it coming, and
I'm sorry I asked.
No, but it's a funny thing. Once you learn karate, you don't want to get into any fights. You learn how to back away from fights because you know you can handle yourself. And it's a funny thing. The people, they sense that you know how to handle yourself, and you have great respect for law and order because there's too many, you know, kids, you know, going out beating up people and everything else.
Has it helped you as an actor, too?
It's helped me as an actor, yeah. It gives me tremendous confidence on the set. Sometimes you run into, you have, you know, temperamental actors who try to use a little muscle and things like that. Not that we ever have any fights, but they sort of sense that you can handle yourself, and so we don't have any trouble on the set.
I'm sorry that I interrupted a lesson, Nick and Ed. Would you go back to doing what you were when I came in?
Yes, I was just trying to show Nick a few of the weapons, like the use of the fingertips. We can use it to thrust with. We can use it to slice with. We can use it to claw with. And the claw could be overhead or up. We can use the side of the hand in many ways. Or overhead. We can use the elbow. We can use the foot in many ways. We can use the back of it. So these are the different weapons that I was trying to show Nick in today's lesson.
Well, let's see how you did with today's lesson, Nick. Suppose that I was to attack you from the front and Ed was holding on to you from the back. What would you do? Well, it was very good indeed, Nick. Now I'd like to see how you did it slow.
Well, first thing I do, Joe, is I take you out first because the leg is much longer than the arm.
All right.
Then he uses the elbows to strike forearms, goes behind me, uses the elbow to strike to the jaw.
And then I finish with the hammer fist.
Well, you took us both out very well indeed.
This little routine we just did right now is actually taken from a form of almost a dance. In fact, you might even call it Oriental shadow boxing. Ed, why don't you give the audience a demonstration of what we're talking about?
Sure, that'll be fine.
That may look like a ballet lesson, but actually it is sort of a ballet of death. It's a very deadly routine, and I'd like to answer a few questions that many people have asked me about karate. What would a karate man do up against a conventional fighter, a street fighter, or a boxer? And here's what would happen.